Hey, today I want to talk to you about the biggest lie your church is probably buying, Pastor. So let me set this up by saying there's a couple of things that are going on right now. I just got done in the last couple of weeks doing a podcast for John Maxwell where John made this comment. He said, once you've tasted significance, success just won't do. He talked about moving from success to significance. And that's something I've been chewing on the last few weeks as we begin what I believe is a brand new season in 24 to Double and what we're doing with churches there. But I've been wrestling with this idea of significance, in particular, what's the definition of significance? But before I tell you that, let me just tell you, my definition for success, I kind of adopted from Earl Nightingale years ago. His definition of success was the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Well, leading people into a relationship with Jesus, I feel like is a very worthy ideal. But when we start dancing around this idea of significance, I start asking myself, what is it really? And I just happened to have lunch today with a mentor of mine, Reggie Campbell. And Reggie and I were talking about this idea and wrestling with it. And here's what I took from that significance is an interesting thing. It takes on a different meaning depending on which angle you mean. Something as simple as I've been successful, now I'm beginning to share my success with other people, and the idea that other people are now aware of my success might be what is significant. That might be the definition of significance, but I'm really challenged with that idea because it feels like the carrot stick, right? It feels like that kind of significance is what you spend your life trying to get to. And even when you arrive, it doesn't feel like your significant. So you keep moving forward and it feels almost like it's an unobtainable goal, meaning being significant can be a huge distraction for you in your ministry or in a business. Now, I want to stop and say this. Pastor, most of the people that are sitting in your community or in your church, in your congregation, when you get done preaching, they go about their normal lives. And I think for a lot of those people, they're wrestling with the idea of, do I matter? And how do I matter? And I think if you don't know that as you're communicating, that's a filter that most people are operating with. Do I matter? I'm only showing you the part of me that will convince you that I matter. That is a very, very dangerous and debilitating place to live in. Just this search for significance. Now, in the world that I live in, which is in the business owner, entrepreneurial world, I just happen to be serving pastors. In that world, we glorify this idea. If it's to be, it's up to me. Like I got to get out there and I got to get to work. And as I'm working, I'm always pointing back to my success and why my kingdom is the best kingdom and why you should do what I do. The challenge with that is if people do exactly what I did, unfortunately, they're probably going to get exactly what I got, and I'm only showing you part of it. I think this search for significance is a very, very dangerous and distracting search that most people, even in our churches, are on. We go to work every day trying to get to the next level because we think that level is going to produce in us an emotion that we don't currently have. Now, here's the other angle to go at it from, Pastor. This is a realization that I've had and am having and continue to have about significance. Every single emotion that I want to feel is freely available to me right now. That to be significant, all I've got to do is realize that I was created by the Father of the universe that will spend time with me literally any time that I want to spend time with him. The more I understand who God is and how significant that makes me, the more I can operate from that. In fact, I wrote down on my notepad here that we should be working from significance, not for it. So working from a place of knowing that we are significant, and we go out into our daily lives and we begin to show the love of a Father that has made us significant, not trying to prove that we're significant, but actually trying to rest in the fact that we're significant. And that's why I think this idea is the biggest lie that your congregation is buying into today, Pastor. And I think you need to be aware of it, that everybody is putting through the filter of, do I matter? Is the way that my husband treating me or the way that my wife treats me, does that make me significant? Does it make me feel like I matter? My relationship with my kids and how they aspire to be like me or don't aspire to be like me, does that speak into me as a significant person? And if you think about just those two scenarios, that's an absolutely terrible place to live your life from, that everything that somebody else does or says impacts the temperature of your significance. So here's what I would tell you, Pastor. Maybe it's time for you to wrestle with this. I know that in the church world, the church as a whole, we're struggling to find new ways to reach people who are far from God. And you have to be really careful that you don't get into that rat race as well, trying to prove how significant you are by the number of people that you baptize or the number of first-time attenders or the size of your church, but that you're wholly operating out of this significance from God, that you know that you're significant and you're going to work and do ministry from that place of significance. Hey, Pastor, if you want to know more about this whole church discipleship program that Pastor Lawson and I are working on, just head over to 24trial.com and you can find everything you need to know about the trial right there on that page. In fact, we're going to give you 24 to double for $7 for 2 weeks, and you're going to get a whole bunch of sermon series as well as some other cool stuff like our Gifts and Passions test, access to that. So just head over there now and find out everything you need to know about 24 to double, and I hope to see you in the very next live stream.